Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode in beautiful Spakovo, Poland. It really is a beautiful morning this day and we already have the workers delivering the horse pen. I keep forgetting what not the paddock, the stables. The stables is the word, yeah. So the stables are disassembled in this trailer. The guys are having coffee inside. I invited them in since it's still fairly cold and it's very early in the morning. It's only a bit past 6 a.m. So yeah, they're gonna do their thing and I'll see you a bit later on when I start doing my own thing. Yeah, this is good. How did he even get the truck to our entrance? Good driver. Good driver. Alright, and we are back. So, I have checked the weather report and we're in a bit of a rush today because there is rain forecasted for at around 11 a.m. which makes it fairly soon. So that means I want to get grass all baled up and ready as soon as I possibly can. And I also want to take it off the field as soon as I possibly can. So without any further delay, let's go and do that, and we can do the mulching of the vineyard while we are experiencing some rainfall over here. And I gotta say that I'm also starting to think that it might be a good idea to actually change this Wind Rover for something a bit bigger. There are Wind Rovers available, something in the range of that tether that we used previously. Yeah, that's a very good driver. Very good driver indeed. How do they even do that? So I gotta start at the top of the field if I want to have everything nicely collected. As you can see, there are still areas that are mostly too wet for hay, but most of it is in a fairly good condition, so we are just gonna have to go with it. I don't know, I'm starting to feel dumb, you know, because just as I think I actually figured something out, it turns out I got no clue what I'm doing. Which is not the greatest feeling in the world, let me say that. Especially when you want to do something good and do something right, you know. So yeah, this part is again fully grassy, which makes me think that I might be better off buying another field. Something that's a bit higher up and that water drains easily off of it. I don't know. Still open for debate. On the other hand, we haven't really used any hay so far. We mostly used the grass, and we're probably gonna use it again before we go into hay, because grass rots fairly quickly and I don't want to have my crop rotting away. Luckily the neighbor's field hasn't yet germinated, doesn't have anything in it. I'm gonna use this opportunity to have a bit of more leeway and go into his field for just a bit. Gotta fix this, because I ain't gonna be able to reach it, the windrower, with the baler, I mean. Alright, this feels better. So in any case, I'll be doing this, and I'll see you on the other side. There's still a lot of work we have to do today. And I was also checking out a trailer that we could possibly use for transporting bales, since we don't have that many bales on the fields, and I can't really take that long flatbed trailer on the quad bike. It's gonna be a bit of an experiment. Mr. what's his name? Antoni. He has a trailer laying around on his place, and he said that he barely even uses it, or that he hasn't used it in a while, which is good enough for me, and he's willing to sell for cheap. It was a homemade trailer, it was repurposed. What did they say? A vehicle trailer, regular car trailer. So it should work perfectly fine for us. Alrighty, didn't take long, and the field is all rowed up. Now I need to go get the baler. And since I will be using the Vineyard tractor later on, I think I'm gonna use the Vineyard tractor to run the baler. And we can actually just continue on with the engine already warmed up. Because when you're running motors and stuff like that, you kind of need pretty high RPMs, you know, and for that it's better to have engine nicely warm rather than not warm enough, because you can get engine damage. Alright, so a bit of a nerd talk, gearhead talk. I never quite understood, well, I understood that cold engines are really, it's not good if you push them. But just recently I learned why that's the case. And I found it extremely interesting, because it makes sense. Okay, let me just sort out everything here, and I'll be chatting about the engine warmth and noises fairly soon. I just feel like I wanna get things underway, and I can't really talk straight if I have to walk at the same time. How does that song go? Can you walk and talk at the same time? No. No, sir, I can't. Okay, let me get into this one. Yes. Mind you, I really love the sound of this tractor. It really feels like something you would put in a vineyard. And it's not mighty or anything like that, it just sounds right. Okay, bear with me just a bit more. And I'll explain everything about the engine warmth and noises. Not everything, but something. It feels like I'm gonna hit the trailer. Incidentally, I did find a trailer to moving horses. For moving horses around. And you can also move other animals with it, which is, I think, a very welcome thing. So yeah. Alright, engine warmth. So if you imagine the piston inside the cylinder, and the piston has a lot less mass and a lot less it can soak up a lot less heat before it warms up. So a lot less energy before it warms up to working temperature. And pistons, well, so the engine block has a lot more of that resistance, which makes it that if you put well, in both cases, excuse me, let me just clean my voice. Alright, the voice is all cleaned and better now. We are ready to start bailing. In any case, so I was trying to say that the pistons have a lot less mass than the engine does, and that means that they warm up quicker than the engine does. So that's all fine and dandy, but when things warm up, especially metal, it tends to expand a bit. And engines are built fairly precise, so that means that there's not a lot of space between the piston and the engine block. Which means if the piston expands quicker than the engine block expands, it starts rubbing violently. So it creates a lot of friction, and friction is death to the engine. This is why you always have to have good oil in, and you have to have all the things that make it run. But that's the main reason, yeah. And if you warm up your engine slowly, that means that it has time to the pistons warm up slower, and the engine block kind of sort of warms up slower also, so the grind is not as rough as it would be otherwise. So that's the reason why some people recommend that when you start a cold vehicle, you should start driving straight away. So there is different heat present, and it's supposed to be better for the engine. So in the end, I'm not an expert, I'm just an enthusiast. I kind of love mechanics, even though I'm not a mechanic and I can't really do a lot of stuff. But still, you know, I like to know how things work, and I also enjoy to know why some things are built as they are, and why some people recommend doing something with your engine or not doing something with your engine, you know? I have to fix this a bit. Good. So this field's gonna be baled in no time. There are still gonna be a few grass bales, as we spoken before, but there are also gonna be some hay bales, which is what I'm looking for. Okay, let's get this last little piece. And then we have this, and we're done. Okay, this was the cleanest baling I ever done on this field. I haven't ran over any bales yet. So yeah, I'm starting to get the idea how to go about it. Because not every way is the correct way. Some are better than others. But if you don't try, you will never know. Alright. So that turn that I took that built a bit of this. Oh wow. Yeah, as I was saying, that yet word was because I know myself. I know who I am, I know how I function. And this does not surprise me that I actually went and ran over a bale in the end. As you do. As you do, sir. Alright. Okay, let me push the bales off. And they're going. And that's it. The baling part of the job is done. Now the picking up part of the job, which is a bit more boring, but since we don't have that big of a field, it's not really that horrendous. Could be worse. But gotta be careful not to put the baler in the ditch. So let's see. And we park it in the first try. It is kind of awkward because it's a side thing. It's not directly behind us, but with a bit of concentration, it should be good. Look, it's like a glove. All that glovage. There any space? A bit, but I'm not gonna force it. Alright, so if I remember correctly, the mulcher is in here, behind all that good stuff. Alright. Yeah, this is why we need a special kind of dedicated shed for these implements, so I can actually go and attach it straight away without moving away all the junk that's lying around. In any case, I'll jump on the quad bike. I'll go fetch that trailer. It's only 500 euros the price, which I think it's a very good price for what we're getting. Because it's just gonna make a job at our farm a bit easier, you know. You don't want to go too fast since I'm not wearing a helmet. Still, let's see some adrenaline. Alright, thank you, Anthony. Goodbye. Yeah, so we were both checking out this lizard while drinking seriously strong coffee again. And the trailer is behind on this side. I didn't know Antonio has a Scania. Wow. So yeah, this is it. It's not new. It's not in good shape. But I think it's gonna do wonders for us. So okay, will it pull? It will. Eh, boy. That just means I'm bringing another thing home that I don't have anywhere to store. Just so you know. I couldn't resist, to be honest. 500 euros. And it fits this this little 4x4, or what they say, quad bike, like a glove. And this one I think is gonna be pretty good since we don't have to lift very high to load it, which means that the back strain is not gonna be too severe. But here we are. There's a bale in there. Alright, well, I won't bore you with loading. I'll just tag back in when everything is all finished up. Alright, I think this is the last one. So we got 12 bales of hay. Let me just throw a strap over so that I don't lose them. And we got 6 bales of grass. And this quad was amazing. I just jumped on and scooched forward and then returned back, and you know, it was really easy to use. And I love this about it. Alrighty, so I'm gonna make the first pit stop at the sheep pen. If I can squeeze through. And let's give them some fresh grass. Almost fresh. So that's one. How much are you gonna take? Almost 2 more. Right, let's give them 2 more. And I'm gonna leave this here so they can eat it straight off. Alright, so the rest are going into the cow pen. So yeah, sheepfold, cow pen, chicken coop, and stables. I'll remember that. And we also got quite a nice chunk of manure going on. And if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Spike, our beautiful cow over here, the youngest one, is gonna be an adult in May, so in about a month. How time flies. Feels like we only just brought him over. Okay, so the rest goes in storage. I think this is mobile enough so I can actually park it in. I'm gonna start making another pile because this one is from the newest batch and it's not as old, and I want to start using the old one first. So I'm gonna make another batch. Probably over here. Gonna move this over. Alright, because I have a feeling this episode's gonna run extremely long, I'll do this next part in a time-lapse or a sped-up video. So sit back, enjoy the music, and I'll see you when it's done. I see how this is gonna go. It's not. Let me show you what I mean. Shoot. Alright, well, there's no other way than to use the Zetor, I think. Alright. And that just means that I have to get something a bit smaller for the next year. I have so much stuff laying around. Nothing is easy to reach. Okay. But you know, frustration is the running force or driving force of progress, so if I'm frustrated, that means that I'm gonna be making some changes to the operation, which is not bad in itself. Okay, so this tractor should handle the motor easily. The only thing is the width. I hope I'm narrow enough to go into the vineyard with this. Alright, so far so good. Well, back to time-lapse. So, the tractor fits pretty much perfectly in between the rows, but it's taking a huge mental load to keep it in between the lines, and in a way that I don't damage anything. And look at the mud we're picking up. The tires are absolutely caked. Oh man. Cake in the vineyard. Cake in the vineyard. But the vineyard looks very neat with everything mulched. So next step is gonna be digging up the soil a bit, roughing it up so it absorbs water easier and better. And that's gonna leave us the last step, which is spraying. And that's gonna be it for the vineyard for this year. I do think we have wine ready for selling, but I don't yet know where to sell it. I have been looking around and there's practically no one that would take it. So I've been thinking, I have quite a nice chunk of change laying in the bank. What if I make or sponsor buy a convenience store and just let one of the neighbors run it? And the only time I use it is when I have something to sell, for example goat milk. I'm gonna have to have a place for that. Okay, let's drive it to the creek to clean the tires a bit. It doesn't seem to be coming off at all. Oh man. Yeah, so the thought is, let's have one of the neighbors who is possibly looking for a job run that little convenience store, because there's nothing here. There's no store here, and old people, and there's a lot of them, they all have to go to a different town or they have to ask somebody to drive them there. So I think that would be a good step to strengthen the community and have a place to sell our things. Wool, I'll be selling that to the nursing home. Squeeze through here, it's not a lot of space. But the the milk and the wine and whatever else we think about or come up with during our stay here, I need to have a place to sell it to. So I think that sounds like a pretty sound idea. Alright, well, in any case, I'm gonna park this in. I do hope the mud isn't gonna make too big of a mess in here. Yeah, dirty boy. Who's a dirty boy? Okay, well, everything else can stay outside. I don't think there's gonna be much damage to it. The seeds are under cover, that's all taken care of. And I'm gonna go have lunch, and I'll be back when the workers are done. Well, the evening is here. The workers have done. There was quite a lot of rain today, so I was fairly surprised when they said that they are finished. Let's go have a look. What's new? Oh, look at that beautiful sky. Wow, amazing. And there is hail forecasted, so I will have to take the tractor under cover. Can't leave it outside. But yeah, this is it. Everybody, say hello to our new stable. Alright, so first out is gonna need some lights. I do want to have it nice and safe, so yeah, a few lights are going on this. I'll sort this out probably next time, or maybe next time, but it is. This is a beautiful white pole fence with a very thick rope around it. We have space for 3 horses and 1 separate, so we can take one out. Can we close the doors? No, but I think we can open these, yeah, perfect. So, our new building is all set, and I do believe it's gonna make a nice home for the horses. So they have somewhere they can go away from the cold and the snow, for example. And I do see myself planting a big old oak tree or something like that right around here, so they have some natural shade when they need it, if they want it, of course. And I think that's gonna make a very beautiful addition. And I was thinking of putting a horse stable down there, but I changed my mind in the last moment, because I was thinking, how cool would it be to wake up in a hut like this, in the middle of the nature. Look at how beautiful everything looks, with the cherry trees and everything. Oh man. Okay, this one is empty for today, so I can show you what I mean. So you wake up in here, stretch, and you say, oh, this is gonna be a beautiful chill morning. And you open this and you see the fuzzy cows and you see the horses. These are the first 2 things that you see when you come out. I think that's perfect. So, on this high note, thank you for watching. I appreciate you being here with me and going on the journey. And see you next time. So take good care of yourself, and goodbye.